Limited recap notification. Closing এর চাপ আছে সেটা নিয়ে একটু বলুন। সেটা তো সেটা হচ্ছে ইয়ে হয়ে কিন্তু এটাকে আপনাকে হ্যাঁ এটা কাজ করুন
But if you see the last thing, delivering products online, the proportion is very low. That means the usage of internet and computer for e-commerce is again very low, and it holds a huge potential to grow in the next commerce, which is a growing trading platform, but they are not using it for this purpose. Similarly, internet and computer in the last year, and even the share is very low for the manufacturing MSMEs compared to their services sector firms. Then status of the firm, like whether the firm was expanding in the last 3 years or DGFT registration as a proxy. Then other from that, the key explanatory variables included in the models are proportion of skilled workers. Then the firm, does it lead to higher international trade participation? And four, do we find any differences in these impact across manufacturing vis-a-vis service sector firms? Now, for the empirical exercise, the data has been collected from NSSO's 73rd round, which is on unincorporated non-agricultural enterprises for the year 2015-16, covering around 290,000.
India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Bhutan and Maldives were omitted because they haven't the data from 2014. And I have this paper in late July, but the most recent paper, Index Report 2021, was rising the savings and investment levels and enabling people to meet their loan and payment obligations. And this is why data sources have positive effect on the likelihood of that households to having a bank account. That is simply the financial inclusion, and also investment, and they also can build assets and which allow them to move out of the poverty, and there are more credit available for the investment, as recipients are they are the most risk averse, so they will mostly dependent to the formal institutions who will take the risks from the part of the clients. And I have done a very rigorous literature review by breaking down the points from financial inclusion and remittance growth nexus, and financial inclusion and remittance nexus, and also from the financial exclusion and what are the factors that affecting the financial inclusion, so exclusion. So if you are interested in MPI score, means their poverty levels decline. So we can say the business grants did help poor households reduce their multidimensional poverty despite the COVID-19 crisis. And this reflects, and if you see the bottom chart, which means that at 63% of the households actually saw a decline in their MPI scores or their poverty levels. COVID to maintain their poverty status, or you know what happened to their poverty status. So what we found, if you look at the chart on the top, and you will see the before and during representation for data analysis. So I'll just jump into the findings. So what did we find? Where did deliver them to get an update on their MPI indicators? And so we had essentially two timelines. We had their data from just before COVID, so from 2018, a good control group for the business grants. And the third group were who we are calling the vulnerable non-poor group. So these households fell just below the poverty threshold. So they were just below the score 20. So they were between 10 to 20, and hence they were ineligible to receive the business grants. But we wanted to also consider them because we were they I mean they're as susceptible to the shocks of COVID as the poor. They also fell between 20 to 40, but of course they did not receive the business grants because a limited number of business grants were delivered. So I mean in terms of their
me welcome the second presenter, who is Miss Suraya, and she will be talking about the better if we hear from each of the presenters, and then we will take the comments from the discussion and some open question answer session, and then we will give is how to help the migrants immigrate from Bangladesh safely and of course reside in their host country safely. So it should be to promote migration, obviously. But as we see in Bangladesh, the problem with migration is that the migration procedure, the immigration procedure is not safe at all. This effect because it can effectively work as an insurance for the future. When there is a shock, when the household faces some kind of shock, it could use the remittance received from 62% of the households are financially excluded. 95% of them do not. 95% of the people are energy poor. There are 92% of the households that have indoor air pollution, and 90% of to see the percentage of energy poverty across different household characteristics. G is the standard normal community distribution function in the public model, and it can be all list of externality of instrumental household, which ultimately reveal that there is uncertainty in the data set, and we proceed with a standard profit regression model for this study. I will profit regression model at first, and we have assumed that inadequate inclusion is the endogenous regressor, and for that endogenous regressor, we're using the nearest bank